Hey YouTube, it's Brian coming to you from Texas again. Just wanted to do a little video on my carry gun. Just like with the previous video on home defense, your carry gun is really a real personal decision that you have to make, whether you choose revolver, large frame, small frame, semi-automatic, polymer, steel. It's really a personal decision. And this one's mine. I've had this, this is a Smith Wesson 340 PD. I've had this since, God, probably 1999, maybe 2000, right when they first came out. This is probably, the serial number on this is so low, it's probably one of the first production runs of it. As soon as I found it at one of the local gun shops and picked it up, I pretty much knew this is going to be my carry gun. Mainly, and you can see here it's unloaded, it's Smith Wesson, so it's a small frame revolver, 5 shots. Mainly I chose this because this weighs almost nothing. It's lighter than the airweight Smith & Wessons. This is all scandium frame. It's a shrouded hammer. Obviously, there's absolutely nothing that can get stuck on clothing. It's got a high visibility front sight. You can see there it's green. It's not a night sight. It's just a high visibility front sight. It works extremely well. This actually has the capability of firing like most 38s or 357s. This can fire 357 Magnum, 38 Special plus P rounds, whatever you want out of it. Honestly, the 357 Magnum is quite a heavy load in this light of a gun. The recoil is extremely snappy, and it's a bit painful, I guess you could say. You know, a lot of people don't really mind a rough recoil, but in a gun that weighs this little and is this short of a barrel, honestly, it hurts a bit, it stings a bit, but you can still, it's still controllable. You can definitely fire it. I choose to carry this with 38 Special plus P hollow points, whatever you can get, Winchester. I choose plus P. 38 Special to me is, it's not a weak round, but for personal defense, I think the plus P is just a better round to use for personal protection. I usually keep a couple speed loaders with me. These are just 5-shot speed loaders with 38 Special plus P hollow points in them. You know, a lot of people say, well, 5 shots isn't enough for personal defense, and I don't know, that's just my personal preference. I prefer a light carry gun that doesn't weigh me down as I go about the day. You can almost forget that you're carrying it, it's so light. And if you don't have a big frame, I don't have a huge frame, you know, body size, so to properly conceal a handgun, I can't really carry a Glock and 45 caliber, even the 40 caliber Model 27, things like that. I'm not really big enough to really conceal it so that I feel comfortable that it's totally concealed. Whereas this gun, you know, even with the chamber closed, again, it's unloaded. Even with the chamber, the chamber closed, you know, it's pretty thin, and it weighs almost nothing. So, you know, you really can't tell that I'm carrying, which is exactly what you want when you're carrying. I've actually probably fired, I don't even know how many rounds, thousands upon thousands of rounds through this handgun, and obviously if you're going to carry, you need to be really proficient with whatever you're carrying. That's for your benefit and for the public as well. I mean, we've all seen certain videos where, you know, either police officers, and I don't want to, you know, speak bad about police officers at all, but you know, some of those shootouts you see, you know, they're firing 15 to 17 rounds and nothing hit the suspect. You need to be extremely proficient. Not saying that they weren't, I'm not trying to bash them or anything. I'm just saying those are most likely the videos you're going to see on YouTube. You're not going to see homeowners defending themselves or someone on the street, really. Those are rarely captured. So you need to be really proficient, fire a whole lot of rounds through it, understand where the sights are lined up, where your rounds are hitting at different distances. Obviously this gun is double action only. There's no hammer, so I can't even pull a hammer back and make it single action. So trigger control, again, you saw this was unloaded, so I'll just show you again before I do this. There's nothing in it, and it's obviously pointed down a safe direction. But trigger control with these double action only revolvers is really essential. I've gotten to the point where I can basically pause the chamber and make it single action, to where if I just pull a little bit more, it fires. So if you have really good trigger control, and it, you know, obviously where your finger goes counts, but with this, I found that if I have it right in the knuckle, which is not really correct, I know people will say you're crazy for doing it that way, but if I do it like that, I can freeze the chamber, and then I can fire. So if I absolutely need to, if I need to have a really well-placed shot, I can always do that. Obviously, in a self-defense situation, you're probably not going to have time to do that, but it's good to know, you know, exactly how the trigger feels, when it's going to break, when the round's going to go off. I hate to dry fire as well, but you know, it's really not that bad to do if you don't do it too often. But this is my personal choice. I'll just give you an example. After you've fired, you know, a few thousand rounds, over here, this is a target. I probably shot this, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. I wanted to see how I could do with continuous fire. So what I did was load up some of those speed loaders over there, and I had a few more. And then I went just freehand loading, ejecting and loading. This is actually 80 rounds, probably between 20 and 30 feet, continuously fired. So I can't remember how long it took, probably several minutes at least, maybe 5 or 6 minutes of continuously firing at the target, double action only. But once you get to the point where you know exactly when that trigger is going to break, you can have your sight picture clear. If you know double actions, it's difficult sometimes to keep your sight picture clear as you actually pull the trigger. You know, the cylinder's rotating, things are happening inside the gun, your hand's moving, and keeping a consistent sight picture throughout the pull can get difficult. But once you fire a few thousand rounds, you know exactly how that trigger works. You can pretty much end up with targets like this. And again, you know, it's not really indicative of what happens in a self-defense situation, you know, with moving targets and under stress and all that. But it just shows you that revolvers with these short barrels can be accurate, and you can get proficient with them to the point where you can be extremely accurate with them. And this one in particular, I think I've fired God knows how many thousands of rounds through it. But this is what I choose to carry. Just an idea, you know, for other people maybe looking. For me, it's really about concealability and weight versus a higher capacity polymer, you know, Glock 27 or a Springfield XD or an XDM, things like that. The other thing I also like about revolvers is, as long as you keep them clean, there's really no failure to feed, because you have a cylinder that's rotating. There's not a sliding back and sliding around into the chamber. All that's happening is two mechanisms: the cylinder arm moving the cylinder, and the cylinder stop down there at the bottom that's moving, and the hammer moving back. There's not that much to go wrong as long as you keep it clean, you know, and take care of it. It will last you forever. And you know, in self-defense situations, I want to know I'm not going to have a failure to feed or anything. Once I pull that trigger, it's going to go bang. And you know, that's just my choice. So maybe this little tiny review will help somebody, or you know, maybe you have a question about this particular model. Just let me know. Thanks.